everyone, it's me, Natty. Today is a special video. Today I am celebrating my 12th year here in the BJD hobby, and what a crazy dozen years it has been. It actually doesn't really seem real when I think about the number, but here we are. So in today's video, I want to go over the dolls that I've accumulated over the 12 years I've been doing this. These past few years have been really kind of difficult for me with the death of my parents. My dolls have been there as a huge comfort and a huge outlet for me. My dad was always very happy and super supportive of my hobby. Every time he would come to my room and see all of my dolls, he would exclaim how amazing and cool he thought it was. My mom eventually warmed up to my hobby and ended up being a pretty big supporter, thinking I should do more with this hobby than what I have been doing. I really love and miss my parents and their encouragement every day. And going forward in the hobby, I want to do things that my parents would be proud of me for. So I guess this video is a starting point. To begin, I wanted to state that I collect all kinds of dolls now. All of them are legitimate, and not all of them are BJDs anymore. In total, I have 64-ish full ball jointed dolls, 9 anime styled vinyl dolls, and many other dolls, which I will be covering most of them here in this video. If you guys have any questions at all about the dolls I'm talking about here, please let me know in the comment section below. So without further delay, let's start the timeline back to 2010. So August 25th, 2010 is when I ordered my first BJD. If you watched my first VTubing experiment with the BJD Addicts prompt, you'll know that I first got into BJDs from watching a Korean horror movie called The Nadeestar, and I first watched it in July of that year. So on September 8th, my first doll arrived, and it was a pretty big spectacle for me and my family. I remember my sister and my mom were watching me, and I had just gotten back from high school, and I unboxed him in the living room, and they were very surprised to find out that BJDs were anatomically correct. I forgot to order him clothes and a wig, so we ordered some from Blue Blood Doll, and they arrived later that month. So we have my first doll here. His name is Raijun, and he was the start to my collection, and I love him so much, and I'm very glad that I chose him to be the first doll in my collection. So Raijun is a Bobobi Apollo. And kicking off 2011, of course, I couldn't have Raijun be by himself. I needed to buy him a friend. And that dangerous line of thinking led me to my next doll from a now closed company. They only had a few sculpts when I ordered him, which is a shame because all their sculpts were so beautiful. This is Demetrius, and he is a Kizdoll elf Psy. Now, back in the day, Bobobi actually had a really amazing forum. It was one of my favorite places in the community to hang out, and I'm really sad that they ended up closing it down. But on those forums, Bobobi actually held an annual photo contest, and I entered my first few dolls. I entered, and I ended up winning 3rd place in the photography contest. So I used the small discount to purchase my first ever MSD 1/4 size doll. This is Felix, and Felix is a Resin Soul song on a Bobobi body. 2012, wow. At some point, I ended up gaining access to the Den of Angels marketplace, which was not as tedious back in the day as it is today. And from there, I proceeded to buy two doll heads, one in January and one in July. But back to Bobobi for a moment here. Bobobi was a sacred place for me in my first few years in the hobby. And that summer was to be the last photo contest they would hold, as the forums would close down shortly afterwards. I was surprised to have a tie with a few other people and received a very generous one-time discount on the site, which was great for me, as at the time I had just started college. And so I put an order in for not one, but two dolls. I was really worried they would not arrive before Christmas, but Bobobi and DHL went above and beyond, and I received them on Christmas Eve. This included my first female doll, which is on screen now. Her name is Sky. She is a Bobobi Esprit on the Resin Soul hoof body, so the one with the satyr legs. And her brother, which is Hilo, who is a Resin Soul Moo. 2013, I should really try speed running this because we have a lot of dolls to go through and I'm not going fast enough. So at Anime North that year, Doll North, which is in May, I purchased this little guy. His name is Rissus, and he is an Obitsu 21 centimeter fairy. And in August, I bought my very first full secondhand doll off the Den of Angels marketplace. This is Yue, and he is a Doll Zone Floy. And that was it for 2013. So moving forward to 2014, in June, I got a body for one of the heads that I bought back in 2012. And so he was completed, my very first hybrid BJD. This is Alex, and he is a Kiz Doll Sai on a Fantasy Doll body. And then a few days after that, I received another head in the mail. And then in November, I received this little guy while I was in college. This is Sethos. He is a Dream of Doll 2. And for Christmas that year, my mom got me a body for a doll head that I purchased earlier that year. This is Keith, and he is a Doll Family H Shang-Chi on a Miro doll body. All right, we're in 2015 now. So in January of 2015, I got a body for a doll head that I bought back in 2012. This is Dakota, and he is a Doll Zone Mobi on an Angel of Dream body. And then in April, I got two dolls. First one was from the Illusion Spirit discontinuation event that I'm very glad that I was able to get in on. This is Tesla, and he is a Illusion Spirit Geno. And the other little tiny one I received from a friend in a split. This one is so cute, and I really need to get her painted. It's been too long now. This is Petal, and she is a Doll Zone Fairy. Now, during 2015, I was still part of the Tumblr community, which I am no longer a part of. And Haru Casting was an up-and-coming casting service, and in October of that year, they hosted a giveaway on their Tumblr for their first sculpt, which is based off of their son, and it's the Adori sculpt. And I was lucky enough to be one of the winners. And then that December, the body for the head arrived. So this is Yu, and he is a Haru Casting Adori on an Impel Doll body. Moving forward to 2016, In January, I had my first modded doll arrive. I bought him with the intention of restoring him up a bit, but I ended up falling in love with the grumpy expression in comparison to the sweet and charming face of the unmodded version of this sculpt. So this is Xiao Wu, and he is a modded Dream of Doll C. And Doll North of that year was pretty big for me. I ended up not buying just one, but two heads, as well as buying a doll off a person I knew at the time. Hard to believe that aside from my Resin Soul and Babobi Esprit and my little Doll Zone Fairy, this was the next girl in my collection. This is October, and she is a Resin Soul Lee. And then on July 4th, so for all my American viewers out there, woohoo, America Day, I received another doll that I joined a split for, coincidentally with the same person I got the Doll Zone Fairies from. Again, I really need to find a way to get these little guys painted. They're just so tiny. This is Chemis, and he is a Doll Zone Scorpio. Also in July, I received a clothing order from Alice's Collections that I made during one of their really cool events, where if you pay a bit extra on a certain amount, then you get a pet doll. So of course I had to do it. So this is Butter, and Butter is a Sakura and Paper. Please don't judge me on the pronunciations here. Sakura and Paper Xiao Kang Kang. And then in August, I ended up receiving a body for one of the heads that I purchased at Doll North. At this time, I was pretty good keeping up with the head to body ratio. But as you'll see later in this video, that's not something I was able to keep up with. So this here is Frodo, and he is a Miggy Doll Dreaming L on a Resin Soul body. Now, I'm not sure when, but in 2016, Doll Zone had one of their mass discontinuations, and I had to get at least one of the sculpts that I was in love with. I was too late to get the flower version of the head, but the human version is also really nice, and he arrived in September of that year. So we're starting 2017 off with a bit of a bang. The head for this doll was supposed to arrive in 2016, but due to an error on my account, the head would not make its way to me until 2017. I cried a lot and panicked even more as my error resulted in the head being shipped to my college address, where my landlady didn't even live anymore because she sold the property. She was amazing though, and she actually drove back to the old house and got the package from the people that lived there and then sent it back to the sender, who then sent it back to me at my current address. Thank you so much to my amazing former landlady for being the MVP of that story. Then I went to visit a person I knew, and I bought the body for the head. So this troublemaking young lady is Niu, and Niu is a modded Fairyland minifee Rhea on a 5-star doll body. And while I was hanging out with said person, I got this doll that I was in love with from when I first saw him. After some life issues, I kind of developed a love-hate relationship with this doll, but now I'm back to loving him. He is a staple in my life. I hope the person that I bought these dolls from is doing well. And so this is Seeker, and he is a Resin Soul Mai. And over the next few months, I received a few more heads from some various places. So we're seeing a pattern here with the head buying. In May of that year, I came across these really cute artist dolls. And I remember following their creator on DeviantArt. That's how long ago this was. I love the style, so I had to get one. And they were very, very affordable. So I'm so glad I got him. He's so cute. Again, another doll that needs a paint job though. But this is Chess, and he is an Evermore doll Jabari. And I think I actually might have the box opening video for him up here on the channel. Now, Doll North of 2017 was a pretty big Doll North for me. The last few years were just smaller purchases of heads and clothes and such. But this particular Doll North, one doll caught my eye. I couldn't say no to him. He was just so perfect, and I feel very lucky to have found him. This is Colt, and he is a Doll Family H Shang-Yi. So I can't remember how this next part happened, but I know it was my mom, and she mentioned it to me that there was a toy store in a town a little bit hour away from us, and she said that they had BJDs, or at least dolls that looked like them. I was insanely happy when she ended up taking me there in June and ended up letting me buy one. My mom was such a fantastic lady, seriously. So this is the one that I chose. This is Luca. He is a My Ballerina doll, Night Lolita, Yululi, whatever company you decide to go with. The Prince Nicholas one. And then in August, the body that I bought for the Doll Zone head that I mentioned in 2016 arrived, making another doll complete to the collection. This is Bishop, and he is a Doll Zone Moment G on a fantasy doll body. Now, September was quite a fun month. On the first day of that month, a doll head arrived, and then a few days later, the body arrived. So that was on the 20th. I'm glad he didn't take very long to put together. This is Miles, and he is a Doll Family H Chiyu on a fantasy doll body. And so when I got Miles's head from Alice's Collections, they were actually doing another one of those sales where you just spend an extra $15 or so and you get a pet doll. So of course I got in on that and secured another little pet doll. This is Cream, and they are a Sakura and Paper Xiaojiu. My pronunciation sucks on some of these. Now, at this point, I was pretty out of touch with some wait times because a lot of the stuff I was buying brand new arrived fairly quickly. And back in the day, things would arrive a lot faster. So earlier in that year, I think it was in June or so, I had purchased a doll with full hopes it would only take a few months to arrive, but I was very, very off. Luckily, he arrived in October, safe and sound. And this is a reminder to everybody to check your wait times before you purchase dolls if you're one of those people like me who are super impatient. But luckily he arrived, and he is as perfect as I could have hoped. You might recognize him because he is also a Bobobi Apollo like Rai. This is Seth, and he is in the tan resin. Now, in November of that year, my mom took me back to that toy store that's a little over an hour away and allowed me to purchase another one of the dolls. So this is Chloe. She is the My Ballerina doll, Yuluoli, Night Lolita, Clara Marie. And then, to my surprise, my mom bought me the third doll. Oh, I think an alarm went off there. My mom bought me the third doll in the set for my birthday that year. This is Nej, and she is a My Ballerina doll, Yululi, Night Lolita, the Snow Queen. And for the rest of that year, I ended up receiving 3 more doll heads. Do you see a pattern? I was out of control at this point. To kick off 2018, in February, I received a body for one of the heads that I had bought in 2017, and this would make my very first full minifee. This head ended up not staying on the body, so I'll introduce her later when her current head arrived. So insert more head buying shenanigans in March, and then in May, I received a doll that I had to argue with my mom for a little bit in order to get. She was always looking out for me and my spending habits, but this doll slammed right into my heart, so I had to have him. He was a bit of a meme back in the earlier hobby days. You could see that on my box opening for this guy. But when he arrived, I was so excited. I spent 16 hours making that fluffy little wig for him. And it was my very first wig attempt too. I think it turned out okay, but just having him is like so exciting. This is Owlith, and he is an Angel of Dream Jurgis Wolfman. So yeah, check out that box opening video on way back when on my channel. Doll North of 2018 was pretty crazy that year. This is when Eileen Doll's Plapico Dragons first started coming out, and I bought some at Doll North, but then I ended up buying the ones that weren't available at Doll North. And then they came later that year, and then some in 2019, and I ended up buying a few heads at the convention as well, but I also came home with yet another doll. She was so absolutely cute. I couldn't leave her there. I even did my whole let's walk around the convention, and if she's still there when I come back, then that's what we'll do. So this is Maka, or Macaria, and she's a blue fairy olive. Now, another head purchase came in June, along with a different kind of purchase. This is like our first really different kind of doll. The video of me opening this doll has exploded on my channel for some reason. It has more than 15K views, which most of my videos have less than 100 views each. So having over 15,000 views on a video is pretty crazy. I found this store called Jolly Build on Etsy, and they 3D print a lot of really cool articulated dragons and other really neat dolls and other 3D printed items. I found this one and I love him. This is Argent, or Argent, depending if you speak French or not. He is designed by Seven Fish, and he's the Seven Fish sea serpent, and then of course printed by Jolly Build. In July of this year, of 2018, July of 2018, I found a body for a head that I bought at Doll North back in 2016. Getting him put together was so much fun. This is Hale, and he is a Dream of Doll 2. He's so cute. Another month, I bought another head, and then in September, I came across this really cool find on BJD Addicts, and I'm very so glad that I got him. I was having issues finding a sculpt for this character, but then he popped up out of nowhere. It was like fate, especially since I love Kizdoll. I really wish they would come back. This is Lance, and he is a Kizdoll Vince. Now, in October, a bunch of things happened. Mostly more doll heads, because I figured doll hell sounded like a good thing. With the doll heads, though, a few significant things happened. I can finally introduce the minifee. Her sleeping head arrived, and she was fully complete at this point. I love her sleeping face so much. This is Amez, and she is a Fairyland minifee Alicia. I also purchased a body from Alice's collections, and of course, I was so lucky to get in on those sales. So I got another cute, oh, they're out of order. There we go. This one. I got this cute little pet doll. This is Cheese, and he is a Doll Family A Bobo, which is just the cutest name ever. So the body, you've already seen the doll. Let me go back to that picture. The body went to one of the heads that I got in March. So I had another Minifee hybrid. So this is Hades. He is a Fairyland Minifee Nunnery 18 on the Doll Leaves body. Now, to end October, a doll that I had on layaway arrived. This was my first time ever doing a layaway for a doll, and I'm very, very happy with how Alice's Collections helped me through it. This doll was a huge grail of mine because he's a limited edition. So having him is like totally unreal. This is Sigma, and he is an Impel Doll War of Future Jerry. November kicked off with, of course, more doll heads because, you know, might as well keep digging that grave. But two really unique kind of dolls arrived as well. First was a doll I had a really hard time trying to figure out how to order this picture. It's ridiculous. I ended up having to use the Spree Now proxy to order through the Doll Shop's Taobao page. Honestly, it was worth it though. This is by far one of the cutest and most ridiculous little dolls in my collection. This is Medjed, which is, of course, a black box Medjed. Now, the other doll I'm giving you guys a trigger warning for, so put your hand over the screen if you don't want to see it. If you have arachnophobia, so fear of spiders. This doll was a surprise to me. It was a gift from my college buddy for my birthday of that year. And I absolutely love how funky this little doll is. This is Fred, and he is a spider, again printed by Jolly Build. I cannot pronounce the name of the sculptor or designer for this doll. It's OWTCYDUR. Spider. Okay, you guys can uncover your screens now. We're starting 2019, and if you think 2017 and 2018 were pretty big years for dolls, the next 2 years, so 2019 and 2020, I went completely unhinged as I learned to use a broader range of secondhand markets. Check out that video, by the way. I loved working on that video. 2019 was also the year I got into anime-themed vinyl dolls, and so that really affected my collection too. To start the year, I had a doll that I had on layaway arrive. Let me get that picture up here. There we go. This was my second layaway ever, and my first brand new Minifee, and my first time hosting a split. Lots of firsts with this doll. I kept the doll, the event head, and the sleeping head, and I honestly think this is probably my most popular doll on Instagram. This is Ayala, and she is a Fairyland Minifee Huayu. In February and March, I got more doll heads. April marked the arrivals of my first Dolphy Dreams and my first Dolphy Dream heads. I was looking for older Dolphy Dreams as I was told the version 2 and version 1 girls were more reasonably priced secondhand compared to the more modern DD3s, DDS, all of those ones. I found the full set for this doll, and she was very reasonably priced. So I bought her and thought that she was pretty cool. But this is Aki, and she is a Volks Dolphy Dream Sirius prototype anniversary model. So the first release of Sirius and the first kind of release of that DDH05 head. And it wasn't too long after that I found another really good priced Dolphy Dream, and I needed her in my life, so I ended up getting her not even like 2 weeks later. I didn't even realize until after I did a whole bunch of research that this is actually one of the very first Dolphy Dreams to be released. She came with the original full set, the original box, and the original guidebook, which is dated 2003. So this is Himeko, and she is a Volks Dolphy Dream Mirai from the original release. April of that year was the London Doll Show. I ended up bringing Himeko with me, actually. And I managed to find a doll there for a price so low that I absolutely could not pass her up. This is Ellen, and she is a doll in mind Benicia with the half-closed eyes. So in May of that year, more anime heads were acquired, as well as a miraculous find at Doll North. He was so pretty and a really good price, so of course I had to have him. Don't worry, I did the walk around, and if he was still there when I got back. So this is Ash, and he is a modded Dream of Doll Tender Zen. And Zen, I think, is normally on the girl body, but he's on a boy body, so that was pretty exciting too. I also found at Doll North a body there that was absolutely perfect for one of the heads that I had. There it goes. Video's lagging even more now. So I had another doll complete. This is Judas, who is arguably my most controversial doll. And Judas is a Switch Holy Soseo on a Miro doll body. June I designated as Dream of Doll Month, as 2 heads and a full doll arrived. The full doll is here. This is Nev, and he is a tender yen. In July, I luckily came across a perfect body for a head that I had bought previously and designated as my mini-me. I eventually want to get my VTuber avatar to look more similar to the doll. This is Aiden, and they are a April Story Sophia vampire version. And then, of course, in August, more heads, as well as a doll I thought I would never be able to get. But secondhand stores really are gold mines, so I really suggest you guys check out my secondhand shopping video so you could get some deals too. I got this guy off of Dolliteria. This is Larej, and he is a Dolce Hound. Now, a friend of mine was selling one of their dolls on Instagram, and I loved her so much, so I had to get her. So she was the only doll I got in October of that year. This is Alicia, and she is in a Sleep Eidolon Snow. Now, some heads and doll parts in November and December, as well as 2 bodies. So I was able to complete the 2 Dream of Doll heads that I got back in June. First was the larger body, that I absolutely adore the size of because it's bigger than most 1/6 dolls, but smaller than 1/4 dolls. This is Sal, or Salku, and he is a Dream of Doll Pisces on a Mew 30 body. And then second was the smaller 1/6 body, if the photo will load. Sorry about that. I think my computer died for a second there. So this is the smaller 1/6 Mew body. This is Shy, and he is the Dream of Doll Tender Pisces on the Mew body. Okay, you guys might have noticed I moved over a little bit. My computer kept crashing, so I had to redo my setup. So let's start 2020 finally. January started off with me putting together my third Dolphy Dream Girl. I got her head at Dull North back in May, and then I had to get all of her pieces individually because the body I bought didn't work. It was a big mess, but I managed somehow. This is Risa, and Risa is a Volks Dolphy Dream DDH09 on a DD2 style body, so the version 2 style body. Next up was a doll I had on layaway that actually belonged to a friend of mine and found its way to me. It wasn't until he was home with me that the face-up artist contacted me and let me know. This is Anubis, and he is a Dream of Doll code number 2. Now on the 22nd of January, I had a body arrive, and then the head that I bought for said body arrived the very next day. Talk about perfect timing. This is Kel, and he is a Dream of Doll Omdukin on a Miro doll body. Now, in February, I completed 2 more Dolphy Dreams. The first was on a version 1 body, and that I actually really like the version 1 bodies as semi-strung, I should say, like ball-jointed dolls. And then they have like locking joints in their arms. This is Kiyomi, and she is a Volks Dolphy Dream DDH03 on the version 1 body. And then the second was on a standard version 2 body, so I had my twin girls. This one is Yuzu, and she is also a Volks Dolphy Dream DDH03, but she is on the DD2 body. In March, a different sort of vinyl anime girl was completed, and while I try not to choose favorites, she's definitely up there. This is Shuko, and Shuko is a Obitsu Designer 60, which they don't make anymore, sadly. April marked the arrival of an impulse purchase, but he's cute, so it's okay. This is Tick, and Tick is an Impeldal Tino on a Harley body. And then in May, since the plague hit that year, all the conventions and stuff were canceled, so no convention dolls this year. But at the beginning of the month, I did manage to snag this awesome cutie. This is Mateo, and Mateo is a Dream of Doll Kirill. So then also in May, I received a body to complete another doll. So I was very slowly chipping away at the floating head hoard. It wasn't going too well, but at least it's getting somewhere. This is Maxon, and Maxon is a Dream of Doll Tender Lahu on a Miro doll body. I managed to score a pretty sweet doll that arrived in June. She's certainly different, but she's so cute. This is Matcha, and Matcha is an A-Zone Kiki Pop, the Choco Ray release. And later that month, oh my goodness, we got a body for another head that I had. This is River, and he is a Sum Lux on a Resin Soul body. In July, I received a really cool hybrid. I love him. This is Piper, and Piper is a Mystic Kids Milo on a Doll Family A body, which makes him really short compared to all my other SDs. I love it. And then I ended up not getting any dolls until September, so there was a bit of a dry spell. In September, a doll arrived, and I originally wasn't going to keep the head that she came with, but I ended up liking it, so now that head's in storage, and the body I gave to a different head. So this is Fumi, and Fumi is a Volks Dolphy Dream DDH02 on the version 1 body, so the one that's semi-strung and has the clicking elbows. Now, a few days after Fumi arrived, My Grail doll arrived. I loved the sculpt for so long, and the truth is, I actually used to have the head before, but it ended up getting destroyed due to me being an absolute klutz. So getting this doll was like having him back, and I was so very elated to get him. I love him so much, and he has gone on adventures with me all around the province. I love him so much. This is August, and August is a Soum Lazul. In October, I received a head and a body. The head went in storage, and the body went to a head that I had in storage. This is Millie, and Millie is a Fairyland Minifee Honoka on a Supia doll body. In November, another head and a different body arrived. Oh my god, it's never ending. So the head went in storage, and the body went to my next Dolphy Dream Girl. This is Machi, and Machi is a Volks Dolphy Dream DDH04, but her internal skeleton is actually Obitsu. So she's a little Volks Obitsu hybrid, kind of. In December, these two little cuties that I pre-ordered a while back, they still need wigs and face-ups, I'm sorry, but these guys arrived in December. Their names are Finn and Wen, and they are Gulliver Small Mermaids. They are literally like a few inches. They are so small. Now, the last doll of 2020 was, again, something a bit different. I always wanted one because, as you guys know, I'm a huge anime fan. And I'm really glad that I was able to find her for a really good price. I don't have any current photos, but here's one from Christmas. This is the Takara Tomy Shirahime from Angelic Lair. Alright, so we're starting off 2021 with a few things that I had pre-ordered. A head that went into storage, and a doll that was actually made into my first OC ever that I had in high school. I feel bad waiting so long to put her together, but at least she's here now. This is Moira, and she is a Magic Time Rachel. It was shortly after Moira arrived that my dad passed away. Things didn't really start slowing down because I had so many things on pre-order, but there was a bit of a lull in my content, so I apologize, but family stuff, and so we lost my dad in February, and then in March, a doll that I won on auction finally arrived. She had been missing in the Japanese mail for a long time, and so I'm very glad that she was able to come to me because she is a very rare doll, and she was my first doll after my dad passed, so she was a very big comfort for me. This is Minami, and Minami is a Volks Nono 13 Rio. They have multiple names for this one. And then in April, my first and currently only Dream of Doll girl arrived home. This is Samira, and she is a Dream of Doll Tender Twinkie. And then in May of 2021, I had this boy arrive. He's still faceless. I feel really bad, but this is Caleb, and Caleb is a Dream of Doll Tender 2. And then a body that my mom actually encouraged me to get. She said that I should totally go for it since it was a really good price. So a body arrived for one of the heads that I had in the collection the longest. This is Raoul, and Raoul is a Demuya Alpha the Werewolf on a Doll Family A body. And then in June, I started shopping around again. I shouldn't have, but I did. In June, 2 more dolls came in. This first boy I won in an auction for a ridiculously low price considering he came with the full company full set. This is Morgan, and he's I'm not going to pronounce this, so I'm just going to say he's an HZBJD Fae. And the second doll, he's still blank. But look at that little face. I'm so glad I have him. This is Larkin, and he is a doll family A Max. July was a bit of a bummer. I bought a doll under the premise that it was a different doll. But it turns out he was just severely damaged. Luckily, one of my friends, I will link them in the description below because they are amazing. Their user handle is Spookamarts. They were able to fix him for me this year. You can see the mods on this picture, the restorative mods. So now all he needs is a face and a proper wig, because this is just a spare wig I have laying around. This is Echo, and he is a modded Dream of Doll Kirill. And then in August, I had this guy here on layaway, so I paid off the layaway, and he arrived in August. This is Michael, and he is a Dream of Doll Sima. And then I went off the handle again and bought a full doll from Angel of Dream. You could see the box opening here on my channel. This here is Leaf, and he is an Angel of Dream she, and he arrived probably the quickest out of any brand new doll I've ever had. He was so fast. And then a few heads arrived after that. And then in December, the last doll of the year arrived. And this is a Midiel, and she is a Magic Time Mana. And now we are at 2022. So back in December, I had actually won a doll in a Christmas BJD giveaway. You could hear more about it in previous videos. This is Harmony, and she arrived in January, and she is a Doll Love Alina. In mid-February, an impulse purchase of mine arrived. This is Irie, and he is a Dream of Doll U. And we lost my mom at the beginning of April. So after that, I had to hold off on buying any dolls until I had a more stable ground under my feet. In truth, I've actually only bought one doll since my mom passed. She's still getting painted, or she's still blank. She needs to get painted. And she's still a work in progress, but this is a modded Doll Love Lindsay, and her name is Meadow. And I got her for a really cheap price, so I'm not too upset about it. But she has been my only doll purchase since my mom passed. In June, one of my absolutely amazing doll friends, Citrus, actually gifted me one of their dolls. He arrived the same day as the Lindsay. You could see the box opening videos here on the channel. He is absolutely phenomenal. I still call him Tora because I don't know what else to name him. He is a Let's Delph Jury 07A on an Angel of Dream body, and the arm is from HTT Dolls. So after him, that's where we are today. No new doll stuff incoming, and Doll North this year was a bit of a letdown for me. I only purchased a few small things that I absolutely love from, I think it's Peachy Daydreams. I'm not sure where my hobby is going to go from here. I don't want to leave this video on a downer though. So we're going to take a look at the full collections all together. Now this setup took me 2 hours and takedown took me 2 hours. So this photo is 4 hours worth of work. Here we go. The group photo of all the BJDs. Oh my God. Oh geez. Oh, that took forever, and my feet and my back were killing me afterwards. So here are all the BJDs in one photo. Next photo is the anime girls. Much easier, much easier. Love it. So there's my anime girls. Next one are the pet dolls. You can see how tiny those Gulliver Small Mermaids are, and the Plapico dragons. See, all of them are blank. I think I'm scared of painting tiny dolls. And here are my little extras. They're so cute. And now you guys get to see the results of my head hoarding. These are the resin BJD heads that still, well, 2 of them don't, well, actually I think 3 of them don't need new bodies because they could just share with their current characters. But, yep, still a problem. And then next we have my vinyl, and the one in the top left corner is actually resin. These are just my anime style heads that need bodies still as well. And there we have it. 12 years. 12 years of dolls compiled into this obscenely long timeline. Thank you everyone for coming with me on this journey. I hope we can all continue forward together in this wonderful hobby, and I hope that I can do my parents proud. So I will see you guys in the next video. Here's to 12 more years. Peace.